Good morning, you guys. Welcome to another lovely edition of Get It, Got It Good with me, your host, Naja Wilhite. And of course, next to me, I have the lovely Monique Rose. And like I promised y'all on the feed this morning, we will be talking milk and honey. So if you don't know what that is, do not worry about it because we're going to go all into it. And I promise you by the end, you'll be salivating.
That is very true. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, most definitely. So this is a very interesting story because you took $5,000. A lot of people do not go into business because of the cost of entry. We know. But you managed to take $5,000, which, by the way, you guys, is your tax return that you be spending on travel and clothes and bullcrap, not assets.
That's true.
And you started this whole big old conglomerate, right?
Yes, absolutely. Be 3 years this year. In October of 2016, we opened our first DMV area, Milk and Honey in Beltsville, Maryland. That is very true that it was started off of $5,000. $5,000 that wasn't even our money. It was a bet. Somebody bet us that we could not open a restaurant in 30 days.
Ah.
And so we did just that. We opened a restaurant in 30 days with $5,000. I'm not saying that that's normal or it's not normal, but I just think that it's a testimony that it absolutely can be done. You know, You don't have to enter business in the traditional sense of getting a loan or, you know, those that are blessed to be blessed from their parents or, you know, just the traditional ways that people tend to get into business and then starting with so much debt, which is one of my main things I like to tell people. Do not over leverage yourself at the beginning.
Yes, indeed. Debt is one of those things that I say stay away from. There's good debt, there's bad debt. We won't get into that today. A bet?
A bet.
First of all, OPM, other people's money.
Exactly.
It's always a good thing.
It's a wonderful thing to use somebody else's money, especially to this degree, and I will forever be in debt, you know, just morally, scrupulous for this person because he didn't have to, you know, he had to do that, and none of us had a clue what would emerge from just something as simple as, sure, let's open a little breakfast spot in Beltsville, Maryland. Why not? And we did, and now 3 locations later, with 2 more on the horizon, it's been a wonderful thing. It's been a great journey.
So going from, did you run any other businesses prior to this?
Absolutely. I've been a bartender since 98. I'm giving my age here. I was 18. First time I bartended.
You can bartend before you can even drink?
Yep, absolutely.
Go figure.
Yep. And I think it's the same way here. You have to be 18. It's a little weird. But, so I've been bartending since then. Always been in the service industry in some form or fashion. We don't have enough time to talk about all I've done, you know, over the years. But I always, even if I had a day job, was either bartending. I owned my first bar at 21. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, born and raised. I lived there 30 years. And it wasn't a restaurant, but it was like, you know, a little neighborhood bar. And we did like chicken and fries and whatever. And then I closed that and we opened another one a couple years later. So I owned a total of 3 bar restaurants before the age of 25. At that point in time, I had my daughter and I decided to open a group home. For teenage girls. So I did that for about 5 years as well. But even throughout that, I still was in the nightlife and restaurant industry. So yeah, I've always been involved for sure in the service industry. And then even when working for somebody else, would always have either a side hustle or another business as well, because I always knew from a young age that it required more than one stream of income to survive. Always. Exactly. I've always known that. I mean, my first job I had at 13 and I had 2. You know what I mean? Like I've been working. That's just always been a mindset. I saw my mother work and she worked one job and she did a great job of providing for us, but I just saw what that did to her, to have to work that hard for somebody else, to really not have, you know, something to show for it that you could pass on, you know, to your children and your grandchildren and stuff like that. So yeah, I've always
had the mentality of, okay, I'm going to... First of all, there's a lot of nuggets in this. There's the side hustles, the multiple streams of income.
Absolutely.
Success don't come overnight because you've had the experience. She put in a legwork. So a lot of times people think oh, I opened this and it failed and I'm done. I'm going back to a 9 to 5. But, you know, it's those building blocks that teaches you what you need to do and what directions you may want to go in and what you may want to tweak, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So then people go, oh, you opened 3 years ago, and now you on 3 with 2 more on the horizon?
Right.
So would you contribute the lessons that you've learned from the previous things to the success of this one?
I absolutely would. I would contribute it to lessons learned and then the work. Like, if anybody follows me on social media or even knows me personally, my favorite saying is to outwork everybody, including yourself from yesterday. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't get to any level of success, no matter what your, whatever success means to you, without putting in the work. Like, this didn't happen, happenstance, and just this was, Chef Sammy Cookford, that's my partner in this business, that 22 years, cooking, and 12, 13 years just doing brunch alone. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And this is, like I said, since 98 of me working for other people, honing my craft, becoming an expert in the field to be able to get $5,000 and turn it into something that's now a multi-million-dollar company. That doesn't happen just overnight. If that would have been handed to me without the 20 plus years of experience, it would have been a disaster.
Yeah, it would have just went downhill.
Yes.
You probably would have went to the bank for a whole bunch of loans and debts that then, when it closed down, you'd be responsible for.
Exactly.
Which is what happens a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's what happens, particularly in the restaurant industry. The restaurant industry, you see, after most restaurants in 18 months are closed. Yeah. The majority of them. Yeah. That's just a fact. Like, the industry, that's just what it is. And those that, survive are, like the chains or the things, the Longhorns
and the franchises
and stuff like that. It's very rare that you see, a mom and pop, which is what we are, well, not at this point, but were at that time, survive and thrive the way that we did in such a short amount of time. Like, and I think that, again, that just came from experience. It's 2 people who got together and did a really good job at doing what they do well. Mm-hmm. And, you asked me before we went on air about, are you responsible for the recipes? Well, no, I'm not. I can't take responsibility for that. I do a great job at taking an idea and executing on the idea. Mm-hmm. I know where my strength is. It's in the execution. Because think about it. You probably have a bunch of friends, right, that have all these ideas. Girl, I want to do this and that and this, and then they never do it. They never do it, right? So I'm just really good and have been always really good at taking something that somebody else may, just throw out there as an idea.
And running with it.
And making it, great.
So it's definitely about staying in your lane, and especially when you're working with somebody else. It's about, okay, you're good at this, I'm good at this, you handle that, I'll handle this, and then it all can flow from there. Yes, right?
Absolutely.
So it's crazy because we were talking about work ethic, right?
Right.
A lot of times what happens is people don't know what it takes to work for themselves. We don't turn off, you guys.
That's right.
It is not a 9 to 5. It is you wake up and go to bed and wake up and go to bed, and constantly your mind is turning.
If you go to bed.
If you go to bed. And trust, if something needs to be done, the buck stops here with you. And so it has to be done. I don't care. Sleep is a luxury. So has that changed at all from day one to now?
Not at all. It's gotten more intense, I'm like a glutton for punishment. I have no idea what I'm doing, why I'm opening more locations, because, I barely sleep as it is. People say that all the time, like, I get up and I have a message from you, or you did this. Like, you just gotta really, I have a plan, you know what I mean? Like, in my mind, I know that this is the sacrifice that it takes right now.
For your end game.
Yeah, for my end game. And that's something else I tell people in business, too. Get into it knowing your exit before you even get into it. Have a vision of how you want to exit. Because that's, again, after 18 months, things start to decline, usually. So what is your plan for that? How are you gonna level out? How are you gonna make sure that decline doesn't happen for you? Mm-hmm. What is the end result for you? Are you selling this business? Mm-hmm. Are you franchising the business? Are you licensing it to somebody else? Are you just gonna, make the money you can for those couple years and then get out? You know what I mean? Like, you have to know. And there's no failure in that either. It's okay to, if Milk and Honey closes today, people say, I get that on like Yelp and stuff all the time. That's why this business is gonna fail. This is a black business gonna fail. Okay, even if it did, what did I lose? Nothing. First of all, I didn't even start it with my own money. Let's start this there. We made millions and millions of dollars, so it could close right now. What did we lose? And we gained so much, so much knowledge and so much.
People are so pessimistic.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I don't think that's a reflection on us. I believe that's more of a reflection on their mindset and their mentality and what they believe is their limiting ways
their
of
limitations.
life. Yeah. So I'm say what you want.
Right. Exactly.
While I'm eating over here nice and pretty.
Exactly. Yeah.
So tell us more about what Milk and Honey is.
Okay, Milk and Honey is 7 day a week, all day, every day brunch restaurant.
My favorite food.
Yes, exactly. Who doesn't like brunch? You know, as you know, trends. We follow trends. Like years ago, brunch wasn't that popular.
Mm-hmm.
Then it started. You can go to Sunday brunch somewhere, and you would get dressed up with your girls, and you would go out and you have brunch. And then it was Saturday and Sunday, and now you go to anywhere, any major restaurant, Maggiano, Cheesecake, any place you could possibly think of, and they offer a brunch. They have a brunch. So Sammy originally was put on brunch as a punishment. A chef that didn't like him said, "No, you're gonna do brunch. You're gonna do Sunday brunch," which means he had to be up at 4 a.m. prepping for this brunch, and he mastered it. And so about 4 years ago, we decided to start doing pop-up brunches in Atlanta. We lived in Atlanta, so we said, you know what, let's just take over restaurants that are closed on Sundays when they're not making any revenue or any business, and let's do brunch there. And we did it, and we did it for over a year, which is, you can't even imagine. Moving into somebody's restaurant on a Sunday and moving out of their restaurant on a Sunday. It is a lot. So we did that, and we saw the popularity, and then we started having waits, and it just really kind of just morphed, and then we said, we got something here. This is something. And rather than trying to do everything well, we just picked that one thing and said, you know what, let's do brunch. And he was already the king of brunch, so we like, let's just run with brunch.
So it's about bringing an idea and focusing it. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I give that advice all the time too. People, you just all over the place. Like nobody, can do everything well. You just can't. I don't care how good you are or something. You just can't do everything. And I, in particular, say that to a lot of our guests that come in and say, well, you should have vegan food, and you should have this, and you got to have some for vegetarians, and you have to have something grilled, and you have no. That's how you feel. That's the first way to fail, trying to please everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's in life too. Forget business. In life, you fail trying to please everybody. So it's like, no, we're gonna focus on this, and we're gonna do this really well. Our menu is 10 items. It's a top 10 brunch menu. That's what we've been doing since pop-up brunches. That's the same way at the restaurant. There's 10 items. We have some a la carte stuff, a pancake, a French toast, whatever. But we focus on that, and we do those 10 things better than anybody. And that's why we have a 3.5 to 4 hour wait. That is why we have made all the money we've made in the last couple of years, because people love our food, and we're just looking at those people. I'm not interested in, love the vegans, great. And I'm actually started a 30-day thing today, day one of, trying, that's great. But that's not what Milk and Honey is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'll go to a vegan restaurant if I want to eat vegan.
So you know what you want. You know your market.
Yes.
You have to know your audience and who are you marketing to. Your marketing strategy, right?
Absolutely.
And it's just like movies, you guys. If somebody's going to make an action movie, they're not going to worry about the people who want all this drama or all of this sci-fi. They're going to focus on their genre, right?
Exactly.
So just like with food. Guys, I was looking up the pictures.
It's really good. If you're on a diet, I would not suggest that you come. But if you want some good Southern home style comfort food, then Milk and Honey is definitely the place to go.
Use it for a cheat day.
Yep, exactly. Yep, use it for. I think some people use it for a cheat day every week. Like, I think we are their cheat day every single week, and it's just really great food. It's good food. It's we use great product. I think that's the other thing that we do really, really well. We don't skimp on. If you've been to Milk and Honey, we don't spend a whole lot of money in the front of the house. You're not going to see fine china. The tables and stuff we may have bought from wholesale for some used place. But the food, though, we're not using half and half. We're using heavy cream. You're not going to get little bitty salad shrimp. You're going to get big 18, 20 jumbo shrimp. Like, you're going to come there and have a to-go plate. Yeah. That's the thing. Nobody can finish our food unless it's like a football player from University of Maryland or something. Like, you're going to go home with food. I think that's important, too. In a business, if you're going to do those things, if you're going to do it right. And we do those 10 things fantastically. So everybody comes and wants, and it's consistent. Consistency is key, too. Yep. You have to. That's the worst thing. I tell my staff this all the time. I hate to go somewhere, and I'm still I'm new to the area, right? So I'm trying new places all the time. And I go and I have something that's great. And I tell everybody I know, like, I went to this place, the drink was crazy, the food was good, and then I go back.
And it's different. Based on the bartender that day, based on the cook that day. Exactly. There's systems that you have to put in place. So anybody that's thinking about opening a business, it's not just about if what you can do. It's about how well you can duplicate yourself and others and get them to do it the exactly same way.
Exactly.
Because you want that consistency. One of the best books to read, first of all, in order to do anything, you have to continually educate yourself. Absolutely. Right? You cannot say, oh, I'm done high school, that's it. It doesn't necessarily have to be formal like at a college or university, but there's going to be some training in order to get to where you want to go. And one of the best things I found is like reading books on business, whether it's finance, management, whatever the case may be. One of the best books that I like is the E-Myth.
Oh, okay. I have to.
Definitely read that, but it's talking about systems and how to duplicate yourself. And I see that you've done that because you have more than one location. So how do you manage the multiple locations? And, you know.
I don't know if you're spiritual at all, but by the grace of God, like that is literally, I don't know what else to say. It's very difficult, and I will admit that is something we struggle with, and it's a challenge. The growth is a challenge only because it's so hard to get people to care. You can teach people everything, but if you don't care, like you got to care about your job, care about the work, care about the product you're putting out, care to some degree, you know, not just slanging hash and throwing it out there because you know you're just making an hourly wage, and that's it. So that is very difficult. And the more business owners I talk to, I find out that staffing is just a problem in any industry.
Staff is just one of the biggest challenges. It's one of the most expensive things as well.
Yeah, labor is. Yes, absolutely. One of your highest costs. So it's hard. I'm not going to say that it's easy, but again, I think limiting it. Now, if we had a Cheesecake Factory menu, it'd be very hard. It's very hard to do that. And it's easy for them, I should say, because they have like a lot of prepackaged. But this is all fresh stuff. So it's hard. So 10 things. Like, we just focus on those things. I can teach you that, and it's repetitive, and we're going to do it over and over and over again. We're going to make the grits the same way every single day until we get that one person that, okay, and now they teach somebody, and they train somebody to do it.
So did you learn that from bartending? Because I know with bars, they'd be like, okay, exactly one shot, exactly this. It's very exact.
It is, but the crazy thing is when I learned, right, I started as a server, and I served for like an hour, and the owner came. It was a very, very busy club in Milwaukee, and he said, hey, you want to bartend right quick? Because they were short. I'm like, okay, sure, why not? You know, get off the floor, get behind the bar, no problem. You know, that was like a promotion at the time. And the girl that was training me, Linda, I still talk to her to this day. I said, can you help me? Because I don't know, I'm done there bartending. And she said, I'm going to tell you one time. Whatever the drink is, I'm going to tell you one time, and that's all I'm going to do.
Jeez.
And, I mean, she was serious. Like, I asked her one time. She told me, and she showed me, and that was it. I couldn't ask her again. And to be honest with you, I think that's how I got so good, because I didn't know what I was doing. So I almost had to become a mixologist at the time. And I really didn't even drink at the time, so I was clueless, you know. Like, I wasn't even 21. I had no idea, you know. I
still don't know, y'all. I'm like, what's the difference? Just give me something sweet. That's what I was. Just give me something sweet and strong.
Exactly, yeah. But a good bartender will be able to do that.
Yeah,
they'll be able to say,
I got something for you, girl.
Yep, I'll mix it up. Like, so, yeah, I think that actually has helped me a lot in business even. Like, you know, just kind of, no matter where I've went, I don't have to be trained, if that makes sense. You know, there's some people that you got to just take by the hand.
Yeah, go on the fly.
Yes, and show them step by step by step.
Oh, my goodness. They need to know everything prior to doing anything. Yeah. But
exactly.
You get nowhere that way.
Exactly.
You have to be a little bit flexible.
Yeah, and I think that's helped me just, you know, in my career period and life period to be able, I don't need that micromanaging type of stuff, which is a double-edged sword, because I will admit that if you talk to anybody in my staff, they'll probably say, Miss Monique is the worst trainer because I never really was trained, you know what I mean? So it's very difficult to do something that you haven't experienced yourself. So I know where I'm strong and I know where I'm weak, so I try to hire people that have the patience and are good trainers, you know, to do that part of it. But I just, you know, watch me. That's what I tell you. Watch me. That's the best
I already
way.
know, because I am not the very structured, organized. My desk, I know where things are, but my desk look like it I work.
Right. Exactly.
But then, if you want somebody who can train really well, they need to have that structure, that systematic way of putting things. So it makes a good partnership to be able to hire that way or to train or have somebody that trains that way, because it helps an overall picture.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Then we were talking about the growth, right?
Right.
How do you then manage the growth? Because there is a such thing as growing too fast, right?
Yeah.
So how do you manage and say, okay, it's the right time to open another and location. And
I
stuff
think
like
the
that.
business dictates that. Like when we started in Beltsville, within a year we had outgrown the place, and the business just tells you that. When you get to a 4, 5, 6 hour wait for food, it's time to grow. So that was just like a no brainer. We're like, okay, we got to do something about this because you'll begin to lose people. Who wants to come wait 4 hours every time on every weekend to to have the food that they really, really love? Yeah. So that was the first thing. I think business dictates it. Then we opened College Park, which was fairly close, and Bowie as well, actually within a week of each other, which is unheard of. But we were like, we got to split this in half, right? We got to get these people. So what we thought, and it did cut it down. I mean, we're now on like a 2 hour wait versus a 4 hour wait. So I think business tells you. I think a lot of time people plan without listening to their consumer, their guests, whatever you call your, the people that buy your product. You got to pay attention to it. They'll tell you. Yeah. So when I started hearing, we knew Bowie before we even found the place in Bowie because what was happening? Everybody was coming and saying, you need to open one in Bowie. I drove all the way from Bowie. Yeah. I came over here and we're like, okay, I'm paying attention, I'm listening. And then you have systems. You can look in a POS system and see where they swiping their card from. What's the zip code and where they're coming from. That type of thing.
Everything is tracking in numbers. Yeah, right?
You have to know that in any industry. You have to know who you're selling to. Who are these people? Where are they coming from?
How did they hear about us?
Yes. How did they hear about us? What is, that's how you know what works. We haven't spent a penny on advertising, not one. Because we know that what do people do now? They come in, they see great food. It only has to look good. And sometimes it doesn't have to look good. I see pictures of food. I'm like, I don't know why you take a picture of that. But, okay. They take a picture. They post it. Somebody sees it. I mean, and it's just...
word of mouth.
Yes.
Which is the best advertising, by the way.
It really is. And I think social media has created something for business owners that I think a lot of people take for granted. They just don't realize it. Or they're using social media in the wrong way. It's free. Now, you can now pay for Facebook ads and all that. But if you do it right, you don't have
trickles.
To. It trickles. You really don't have to do that. If you have something that's great, people like to tell people about it. Now, they tell people the bad stuff too, don't get me wrong.
Yes, they do.
They complain, but when people really genuinely love something or a place, you just tell people. I know I do. When I go someplace, first thing I do, I leave, call my sister or call somebody. Yeah. I just went to this place and it was really, really good.
Or I just seen this movie. Yes. Or, I just went on this trip.
Yeah, this girl just did my hair and I was like, oh, I got my nails done. That's just what we do. Like, you tell people that. So
naturally, right?
Yeah, just put out the best product, whatever it is that you're selling, whatever your brand is, be the best at it, whatever that one thing is. And if you do that, you won't have to, it won't be hard. It'll come so easy.
It will. So you mentioned branding, right? And I know you stay in your lane and what you guys do. So did you consciously think, because a lot of times people just put out things and they don't think about what is communicating, right? So did you consciously think what colors, what decorations, what that stuff? Or was it just opportunity and, we could work with this because this is what it costs and we working on 5,000?
Right. Well, I think it was a combination of things. At the very first one, we kind of had to work with what we had, right? I'm quite sure that Sammy had a vision because he also, in addition to the food, handles the decor, like the pieces that we put into each Milk and Honey and how they look and the theme of it. Now, it was kind of just haphazard the first location because, again, you're working with a limited budget. You have to do a lot of the work yourself. You do a lot of the work yourself. That small little 1,900 square foot 50-seat restaurant, and we squeezed 50 seats in there. It really was like a 35-seat. But 50-seat restaurant changed floor plans minimum of 10 times in a year. Because as you go and you change, like we had a lounge area when we first opened, which is ridiculous now when you think about it.
Because you don't make money on the lounge.
Yeah, at the time we were like, people just gonna trickle in and eat some breakfast. They can sit here with their laptop. That changed within a month. Then we moved. We had community tables at first, and we learned that our guests don't like to sit with each other. They like to talk to who they came with, and you can sit with who you came with, but you're gonna be very close to the next person. So we kept changing, we kept evolving. You have to be able to not be married to one idea. Like I tell, even the client that we had.
Some people live and die on one idea.
Yeah, and they are so, like a name, right? Yeah. Like a name. I told one of our clients that, and I know it's nothing but the name. And I'm like, change your name. No, I'm not changing my name. Why? If it isn't working for you, why would you not be willing to change it? Why would you not want to change the name to make the difference that you're looking for? What you're looking for is only the name. People are very stuck on certain things. Milk and Honey is worked in reverse. Like Milk and Honey is biblical. So it's almost relatable to anybody. Even if you're not religious, you've heard of the land flowing in milk and honey, usually. Or even if you don't know that it came from the Bible, you're like, milk and honey, what's that?
Sounds yummy.
Yeah, it invokes a feeling or a
yeah.
thought, or, you know. Like, so I tell people that. I mean, you're opening a business and you want to name it after your daughter. Okay, that's beautiful and that's great. But is that really...
Leave it to her. Leave a legacy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. You don't have to
Make
name it, you know, whatever, little Kiki's. What? Why? Why are you doing that? No,
Yeah.
you know, that's not relatable to everybody. So I think that there, you know, we get so caught up in one thing, you know, so married to. You have to be able to go with the ebbs and flows and change. Now, don't lose the core who you are. Like, I would never change from brunch to dinner or something like that. We're a brunch restaurant, so I'm not going to go that far. But if business dictates that, no, we take those community tables out. That's what we want, and we thought it was a great idea and concept, but it's not working.
So you can start with an idea, but as you see what works and what don't work, you can change it.
Oh, absolutely.
What do you think is most people's hang-ups when it comes to ego?
I think it's ego. I think we just get, I mean, as humans, we have ego. I have an ego, you know, we don't like to admit it, but of course you think certain things and you like, you know, I think I'm that way. I watched something the other day about hiring because I'm trying to figure out this staffing thing, right? So I was watching stuff and it said we hire people based off ego. You see them and you're like, oh, I made the right decision on this person. This is a good person. And you hire them and then you keep them there, right? When they shouldn't be there. Yeah. Because your ego tells you, I don't want to fail at this. Yeah. I have to be right. So you keep the person around longer than you need to. We don't need to be good at hiring. We need to be better at firing. And I listened to that and I was like, that is so true. Because you could be you could be a staffing company, right? But you're going to make a wrong hire.
You have to identify. I like you, but I can't work with you. Right. A lot of times we think because we can't work with somebody, that means they're a bad person. It's not necessarily a bad person. You just don't work here.
Yeah, it's just not a good fit. I tell my staff that too. You can come, you can eat here after I fire you, but you just can't work for me. You can't, because what you're doing is not working for what we have, you know, going on. So I think that people just I think it's ego. And if not ego, I think fear of failure and viewing things as failure that aren't a failure. It's okay. A change doesn't necessarily mean that you failed. It just means that you were smart enough to recognize this is no longer working.
To adjust.
So let me adjust this and change and it'll all work out. But I really don't know why people get so caught up in that. I see it all the time. Like, no, I'm not going to change. No, you have to.
It's like, what do you want most? Do you want to succeed and make money or whatever that means to you? Or do you want to be married to this idea and go and live with it in the grave?
And die with it. Die with this idea. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what do you want the most?
Yeah.
Business to a lot of people is scary.
It is. It's a huge risk.
It's a risk, but do you think it's more of a risk to go and be in control of yourself, or do you think it's more of a risk to have somebody else have control and dictate where you live, what you're going to make, how you're going to live, if you work today or not today? Right. Which one do you think? And, of course, I think a certain way, but...
well, I think we think the same way.
Yeah, because we're entrepreneurs.
Tend to think that way. And I don't know how to, I do my best to you can't really teach people to feel differently, but just try to give them a different viewpoint and see that you got to think about what you're doing. Like you rather work for somebody for 40 years. They tell you what you're worth that, for that hour every day that you're, for every hour that you work. Or put in that effort, and you don't have to. I think it's fear, right? Yeah. So I get it. So keep the day job. Like I said, I had a day job, and still don't be foolish.
That's the reason sometimes you gotta hustle on both ends.
Exactly. Don't be foolish. Don't put your family and your responsibilities at stake. But if you put just a fourth of that effort that you put forth for somebody else after you get off of work for working for somebody else, you'd be amazed at I think it's just fear. People are so scared to fail, so scared of the unknown, so scared of change.
Or extremely comfortable. Yeah. Like, I make a good living. I can pay my bills, and then you can walk in tomorrow and you're not making a good living anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to put your fate in somebody else's hands. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel. Like I recognized a lot of that when the government was shut down.
They're very safe, secure government job.
Yeah, was shut down. We to give back. We were offering discounts and free coffee and a bunch of stuff because But as I talked to a lot of those tables, I realized you think what's secure is not so secure. And if I'm gonna fail, if something's gonna go wrong, I would rather it be in my hands. Now, obviously, Milk and Honey could close if a natural disaster happened or something like that. But you still
have all that knowledge which nobody can take away from you.
Exactly. So it's not, and I could take it and apply it to something else. Yeah. So, I just really, I think that was brought to the forefront with that shutdown. It's like, wow, I talked to so many people during that. I said, I got to do something else. I'm going to start my own lash company, or I'm going to start, my own cleaning company. Or I think it just made society as a whole realize, like, wow.
I have to have a side hustle of some sort.
You have to.
Man, and you can also hear the fact that you go out and you talk to your customers, you talk to your clients, you have to talk to them so that way you can get to know them. You form a relationship, and that's how you stay on the pulse of what's happening in your business.
Absolutely.
That means she's not at home dictating, chilling while the business
I
is
there.
Not how it works. Not as of yet. Maybe part of the exit strategy.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Just cash flowing, but I'm over here on some far, far away land.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you are literally in the right on the battlefield of everything.
I touch all 3 restaurants in this area every day, pretty much, unless something happens. I pretty much touch all of them. If not all of them, at least 1 or 2 of them all the time, because one, that's how we started.
Yeah.
You don't go veer too far away from where this is how we got here. We got here because one, people like the story. They follow the story like, wow, these 2 people that were dang near homeless, making $1,000 a week between the 2 of us. Yeah. So splitting $1,000, one client that paid $1,000 a week. Yeah. He was making $500, I was making $500. To now, to fast forward, and this happened within, again, a very short period of time. So that's part of, what Milk and Honey is. They're like, not only do they like the food, don't get me wrong, but they like the story, they like the vision. It's a brand, like you become your brand. That's the other thing. I think people, such a separation, right? People say, I want to keep my business and my personal separate. Okay, I can understand it to a certain degree. But it's you.
You buy you, right?
Yes. Yeah, brands tell a story. Like, so what are you selling? Are you selling a product? Are you a brand? Are you a company? I think that's the other thing people need to identify. What are you? Because if you're just a product, you just have one thing, you don't have to be a brand. You don't have to sell a story to the people because you're just selling that one thing. But if you want to be, I want Milk and Honey to become a part of people's lives. Yeah. Like, people celebrate with us. They like, if they're celebrating at graduation time, spring break and your family's in town, we're going to go to Milk and Honey. Yeah. It's a part of their lifestyle, and that's what I want. I think that's where you get the longevity from. Exactly. When you ingrain yourself in people's lives. So that's why I like conversations. Again, social media is the best place. Even if I didn't touch the restaurant that week, I'm at least online and hearing what they're saying and paying attention and responding. Because the moment that the owners lose touch with the restaurant, then, it's like when everybody goes astray, right? It's like, oh, they're not watching, so I can do this, or I can take this, or I'll stack this and take it. Yeah, but it's very true. You have to make your presence known because, again, if you are your brand, you set the culture. You set the tone for your business. You set, and it could be just a walkthrough. I don't have to stay there, but just I could walk in the back door, walk through the kitchen, walk out the back door, just the presence, so they know, oh, okay. And I think my guests like it too. At any given time, the owner, I've never went to Longhorn and, the owner comes up to me and stops at the table or, you know what I mean? So I think that's part of your image. Absolutely. And I never want to get that big. And now the plan is to get big, don't get me wrong, but I never want to be so big that we lose touch of not only our guests, but my staff too. It's very important to me that I don't want to know your personal, intimate details of your life, of course, but I don't want to walk in some place and not be able to call somebody who's been working for me for a year by name. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, once you ingrain that in all of your upper level management to become that same type of thing. Yeah. So really fast, as we run out of time, this is all done while being a mother, right? And as we know, Mother's Day is coming up. So I'm celebrating mothers for the whole month of May. Oh, wow. And you may see that the ads and everything that's going now and that's going to celebrate. So we're going to spotlight moms all month of May. So remember to get your videos in. It's free. Just shoot me your videos. You can find us on social media platforms under Get It Got It Good G3. Shoot them to me. We'll play them through the social media platforms. We'll play them on the screen. We'll play them as commercials. And show your mother some love, people. Absolutely. Because we work hard. Where would you be without juggle, right? So closing out, how do you juggle? I mean, because I'm really not the best at this. But I do get it done. And you have how many? Well, I have 2. I have 2 and a grandchild. Yeah, but and one is grown, so I parent him from afar. He's in Atlanta. Right? But my daughter will be entering high school this year, and it's not the easiest thing. Like, balance is so, again, I recognize my strengths and my weaknesses. balancing is not an easy thing to do.
Definitely not.
Yeah, and you don't want to get so wrapped up in your business that you neglect, you know, your responsibilities as a parent, as a, you know, spouse or whatever. You know, it's just a lot. So you just do your best. I think, again, you work. And I think relationships are work. Even parenting is work. You know what I mean? Like, I know more this year about being a parent than I did, you know. I parent my daughter completely differently than my son, who's almost 10 years apart. You know what I mean? Because when you know better, you do better. And I just think, again, that just changes and evolves. You don't get so stuck in one thing. Like, I'm not stuck in parenting one way that I don't recognize, dang, I could do better with that. I can spend more time with her. You know what I mean? Like, this is spring break. I consciously made. Last night, I took her to see the movie Little. Tonight, we're going to do, you know, you got to make a conscious effort.
I just went back to yesterday.
Did you? That was my first time. We went, yes. It was so good. And I'm so glad that I took the time, you know, to do that. But I just think it's a decision. You plan. Just like with business, you know, you have a to-do list. You're like, this is what you include. You make those things a priority to you, and you'll figure it out some kind of way.
You have to schedule it in.
You have to.
Date nights with the hubby. Yes. Hey, speaking of hubbies, we're going to Milk and Honey.
I would love to have you. Yes, please.
Meet my husband. So, with that being said, I definitely want to say thank you for being here.
Thank you for
You
having
have dropped so much knowledge in, like, this much time, you guys. But as always, we're about getting people information, making sure you understand it, and know where to go to get more, and then it's all good. So, speaking about going to go get more,
yes,
how can they find you?
They can find me at MoniqueRose.com. So Monique, MoniQue, Rose like the flower.com. All my information is there. My Instagram is the Monique Rose. And then, of course, Milk and Honey #2. That's probably the page you want to follow as far as the food is concerned. And I also own Catch 22, which is Catch 22 DMV. So we can be found on pretty much any social media platform.
See, we didn't even go into there. I knew about that, but I mean, it was just so much that we could cover.
It's a lot. It's okay.
So, join us next week, you guys. Same place, same time on WBGR Health and Wellness at 11:30. Because next week we have Kimmy Workman, who is the producer and creator of Shock Nation, which is one of Baltimore's award-winning TV series as well. And so definitely tune in. And before I go, I have to thank my sponsors, as always, which is Dance Solutions, Youth Outreach, One Man Sharpens Another, Favorite One, Start on One, and an entrepreneurship school for the artists. Okay? So you guys, have a great day, and I'll see you next Wednesday.